Bwahahaha. My name is Amy 2, and Tom is an adult Japari lollipop. But anyway, let's get in here. Amy 2 was looking through the attic. That's not how you write it. Amy 2 was looking through the attic. She must have woken up. She slept a lot the past few days. She felt like her face was growing wide like a sapling. I was so sleepy when I saw her potato. Her eyes turned red like a melon. There was one day where she said that she wants to quit acting, and her star topper yesterday, she was the sun on her face when I saw the potato. It was like a sapling that she grew since then. I've always felt that there was a life after ... What? That one was amazing. Let's run another one. That fixed it. Oh, okay. Amy 2 was looking through the attic that exploded into kitten butter. The old Spice Man 2 was out on the porch watching Alex practice conversing with a mirror. Feeling unsure of her direction, slightly more confused than eager, she was trying to relate Alex's frustration at his inability to hear her. For instance, with the inability to hear himself, Alex didn't mind. But in turn, she didn't understand. She closed her eyes and waited for him to walk through the door in the hallway. And she hoped it was just the door itself that would open it. Her stepmother's voice barely reached her ear through the door and the wall, but she heard the spoon turn and the shift. "Are you going to stop?" she asked. Oh, man. Moon was getting his tires changed. Moon was getting his tires changed when Ramon assumed the action, gunning down the mysterious assassin in the process. The bad guy quickly turned the tables on the winner and raised his gun against him before getting shot off the wall. Rather than think the worst of Ramon's newfound rage, he mused about how he might just be getting too old for the game. The Siege. Image credit. Rouge Universe. In an effort to save the Temple of Futures Past from Harley's reign of terror, the Temple of Futures Past's time travelers went back to and examined their own past to try to make sense of the destruction. After the temple's destruction, Ramon / Wesker and Hellspawn. There's a guy called Hellspawn. It's just Ramon / Wesker and Hellspawn. Just a guy called Hellspawn. Moon was getting his tires changed, and he was blowing on them with the heavy air which he and Bill were heating with the ventilator. Bill was livid. He didn't know why Moon was interested in getting his tires replaced. "There's no way you'll get those tires any other way," he said. "And besides, you ain't going anywhere without a fire on the seat of the dirty Moon." "The burners and the detonator, of course. And these mustaches. You all look alike." Moon shrugged. "Sure, Bill, I'm less of a Bobby than you look like me. Anyway, this ain't about the girl, is it? It's about being at the party." What? What does that have to do with anything? Moon is getting his tires changed. As this was taking place, the NPC that should be dying was praising him. Scarlet Sword is now level 20. That's great. You have now slain 2,000 undead. The ability of shooting sword materials have been improved. I will go and train in order to reach level 20 quickly. Star Sword stared at Han Shuo with a bright smile. The sword smiled at this guy. Han Shuo got a good sense of his ability due to their battle yesterday. He also looked at Star Sword very quickly. He had also asked the mystery NPC about the latter level. The mystery NPC seemed to have forgotten about Han Shuo's ... Slater was burning some garbage in a dumpster. Slater was burning some garbage in a dumpster when he had made contact with the probe. Scarpa said, "It's certainly a bad look for us to have somebody who is ambushing our rubbish disposal services and to also be sleeping in the waste collection vehicle." He said, "The more info we have, the easier it will be for us to determine the exact circumstances. City police believe the driver would have no interest in throwing our rubbish away in a dumpster," Scarpa said. Scarpa added that even if Slater were to try to walk away with stolen goods and vehicles, that wouldn't necessarily preclude him from later being involved in the theft of more goods or even driving the stolen ... What even was that? Slater was burning some garbage in a dumpster. She was worried about her dog, who's trying to play in a sunlit area, and it got bit by a dog. At about 7:30 p.m., she and another person put a tarp down to protect the dog and went inside to cook dinner. She tried to go to sleep. "As I was about to fall asleep, my dog was biting me, and I was hurting for days." Witnesses to dog bites. Chris Turnbull is a trainer and instructor at Edmonton Humane Society. "Whenever we have a report of a dog bite or bite associated with pet ownership, it's really frightening to hear. We do need to also keep in ... Big Boy and Buddy were dumping their nuclear waste into outer space." Big Boy and Buddy were dumping their nuclear waste into outer space when Buddy detected a possible wormhole. The wormhole, they realized, extended to the nearby star Galaxia, which appears to be wobbling and possibly on the verge of collapse. Their gathering of evidence has become increasingly unreliable and improbable. They conclude that they must do something drastic to fix the star before Galaxia explodes into a red giant star. In another one of the space opera alternate history novels, what? The Bajoran rebellion against the Cardassian government took place on an older universe that resembled Earth. A whole universe that resembles Earth? Wow. And the Bajorans and their expansionism After seeing The Next Generation and hoping that a resurrected Shakar Edon would defeat the Kardashians, as she worked as ... Big Boy and Buddy were dumping their nuclear waste into outer space and leaving only their waste. Either way, there was a very large enough radiation blob to represent the assholes of the moon base. What? That doesn't even make sense. I could make that part of the design pretty easily if the frame wasn't too steep. I could have a spindly, twisted tube you'd pull with your knees to walk between with the figurehead. It would have to be a three-dimensional frame, so the shape would remain faithful to the size of the head. I could have some sort of bar up top to hold up the skirt on the long body, so that the large what is this? Interstellar whatever area at the back wouldn't be exposed to anything. To everything. I would really like to go for a rigid PVC with legs. What? What? I would really like to go for a rigid PVC with legs. What? When I see the word PVC, I think of like PVC pipes. Big Boy and Buddy were dumping their nuclear waste into outer space, on the dark side of the moon. That was where they got their survival fuel. The neutron star lived out in the ocean yellow glow of its parent black hole. Radiation poisoning is bad for the kids. But the pain of radiation poisoning would be better than the loss of their cargo of radioactive plutonium. They had somehow gotten themselves all the way into the exhaust port of a star. That was where the engineers walked all the time, when not boring you to death by crushing your spine with 2 steel cuts. What? What? Yeah, that's boring apparently. That was where the engineers walked all the time, when not boring you to death by crushing your spine with 2 steel cuts. In this particular part of the star, a cavern filled with solar panels provided electricity. As they sailed past a narrow portal, they saw the twin sons of their parents. What is this? Big Boy and Buddy were dumping their nuclear waste into outer space, where they could escape to at a moment's notice. They needed a big boy in command to keep their little plan on track. The big bully boss. Once she became a target, Symmetria managed to escape and track down the structure to her new secret headquarters. Symmetria's new plan: kill everyone. Symmetria finally makes her move, slaying to the last, Disc 2. You would think that I would have learned to see the forest for the trees after so many years, but you would be wrong. Today the mischievous Fox had a plan. Fox wanted me dead. I thought I ... What is this? What? Big Boy and Buddy were dumping their nuclear waste into outer space. I couldn't help but think that too. Criminality. In the first issue of Messiah, despite being sworn to protect the Earth and proving itself loyal to Saturn, the Element Lord decides to commit a burglary. Before leaving the villain's home in a taxi, he makes sure that he sneaks into his basement's lair as well, and takes things like pill bottles with him. Soon the Prime Minister finds out and questions him about his break-in. The Element Lord had been desperate to return to Earth, but realizes that he needs to first clear his head first. He admits that he committed the crime to reclaim the powers of his rival. Glorious Nation stole from him. ... What in the world was this? Well, that one was amazing. But anyway, I'm gonna have to end this video here. If you liked it, please subscribe. That was my clipboard. But anyway, go check out my older videos too, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.